don't think so.
No?
Hey, everybody, we're here now, and we have officially hit the live button with Benson Juarez and Privy, and I'm super excited to be here with you, Benson. Thanks for bringing me on and allowing my group to be a part of your world of this amazing real estate investment tool that is helping real estate agents and investors find incredible deals and so much more. But I'll let you take it from here. We just had a weird start, but we're going to roll with it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys, we are using a new platform. Trace and I were talking about this earlier. I typically use a platform called StreamYard, which is a great platform. I decided to try a new one. So we're using this one called Restream. And it's got some new features and functionality. We're kind of playing around with it, but I really appreciate you guys being here. And because we're streaming, it's going to stream it live, and then the video will be there to watch later. So if you want to go back and watch anything again, you'll be able to. But thank you so much for being here. Thanks for being here. What's up, Nathan? Peggy's here. Tracy, Megalina.
Yeah, welcome in, Mona, Nathan. I know I need my glasses. I'm so vain, Benson. I don't want to do it, but I'm gonna. Hey, Gail, welcome in. We're
Your
so glad
glasses look great. You should wear those. You look so intelligent.
Do you like my glasses?
Yeah,
right,
I do.
Then I won't be pretending like I can see. Oh my gosh, I love this setup, Benson. This is fun. I might be a convert. You might be getting me to move over to Restream. I really like the look of this. I love the interaction that I can see it right in front of me, and all these incredible people that are saying so kind words to me. They hate their glasses too, but yours look intelligent. Anything to boost the appearance of intelligence, we'll take it, right, Benson?
Oh yeah, I love it. I love all the compliments. What's going on, everybody? Well, Tracy, you let me know when you want to get started. I think, let's go ahead and get going.
Yeah, first of all, some of you are from the REI Wealth Builders Expert Collaboration, which is my Facebook group. So welcome in to those that are joining from that group. I know, Benson, you're streaming to some of your platforms as we discussed earlier. So hello to all the people I don't know, but to the ones that are in my group. We've set this up specifically to give opportunity and incredible tools that I've personally vetted. I've had conversation and private talks with Benson in the past about Privy and getting together and doing this for some time. And personally have used it to find all my deals on my team, and just really loved the platform. And just Benson has been phenomenal, always giving so much value and such interactive opportunity for people that are, just getting started or seasoned investors. It really doesn't matter who you are. There's something to be had here. And there's so much benefit to having these live events and really just coming together. I think the energy is fun. The comments light up. People have the questions. And this is where the learning happens, Benson, I think, is, we can talk all we want and post static posts, and we can say, hey, this is great software. But until we're doing a little deep dive and we're talking to the creator himself and we're getting inside and we're really interacting with the software and seeing how it works, getting that test drive. It's like going to a car lot, right? You don't just want to look at the cars. You want to get in, you want to test drive it, you want to see all the features. So welcome into the event that we've been promoting for the last couple of weeks now. I've been heavily promoting this in the group, so I'm glad you're all here. And I also want to draw your attention to the fact that I'm going to be dropping a link for anyone who feels they want to add this to their arsenal of tools to bring higher level success opportunity to your real estate investing business. Maybe you're just starting and you need something to get started. We're going to be giving, our Benson so generously is going to be giving a discount for anyone who purchases today through this live event. And there's going to be a promo code with my name on it. I feel so special. Thank you for that, Benson. in. And there's going to be a link I'll put in the comments, and I'll throw it in a few times as we go about. But hey, let's make this as interactive as possible, Benson, right? We want the questions. I'll be manning those. I'll be throwing them up to you, Benson. I'm going to let you take it from here. Please introduce more about yourself and your community. I'd love to connect.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I want to address one thing real quickly. I wish I could say I was the creator of this amazing software. I am one of the owners. We have an amazing team of developers. My business partner, Scott Fall, really is the brainchild of Privy. I'm fortunate to be part of the team, and I'm just so blessed to be here with you guys today to show it to you. But many of the things we're going to talk about today isn't about just like isn't just using the software itself. We do have lots of great features and data sets, and it will certainly help you do better, make more money, save time, be way more efficient. But some of the things I'm going to talk about today are more about philosophies and strategies that you can implement right in your business without using Privy. Hope you do, but you can leave here today and still be able to use some stuff in your business right away. So one of the things about me, I've been in the business for 20 years. I've done everything from fix and flip to buy and hold. I'm still a licensed agent, been licensed for 15 years plus. And my main target markets for my business are Southern Colorado, Colorado Springs, and Pueblo. And I also recently moved back to Colorado from St. Louis because about a year and a half ago, I was looking for just a more viable market than the Denver market. It's pretty competitive here, high prices, really difficult to get cash flow in a portfolio. So I looked for another market to go and start, sourcing deals. And so I'm going to show you the process that I used a year and a half ago to find my next target market and show you how I built my team, how I became a local market expert in hours rather than years, and how I was able to gain the confidence to start writing offers on deals in a market I had never set foot in. So get ready for that. So feel free to drop questions in. Again, this is being recorded on whatever platform you're viewing this from. It will likely be there for you to go back and watch again. And so right here, what you're looking at, this is the Privy platform. It's a web-based application. You don't have to install anything on your computer. It is something you can use with just an internet connection. One of the main things that people always ask us about is like, how are you different than this platform or this platform? And, there's a lot of overlap with a lot of the platforms out there. But one of the main things that makes us different, obviously, is the beautiful user interface. We've been compared to, us being Apple and other platforms being Android. And I don't want to offend anybody because I know that's a big discussion out there, Android versus Apple. But the user interface is something that we've spent over 10 years refining and perfecting based off of feedback from our users. So a lot of what you're going to see today is stuff that we've built because we talk to our customers and they tell us what they like and what they don't. Are you hearing that background beeping, or is that just me?
I might have heard a very faint beeping.
I'm hearing like a beep. I don't know where that's coming from.
I don't see anything.
Yeah,
Guys, let us know in the chat if you're hearing anything.
Maybe no one's hearing it. I'm hearing it, but it may not get into the mic. Anyway, it's likely just comments, but we'll look into that.
Okay.
So one of the main things that makes us different is that we're the only platform that actually goes out and negotiates data contracts directly with local MLSs. An MLS is an acronym for multiple listing service. And so that is the same data that agents and appraisers use in their business. And it's where agents go and list properties for sale. It's where you get to see, the property descriptions and the beautiful photos. And it's also where agents go once a property is finally sold to put that data back into the MLS so that we as people know what a property finally sold for. And so that information is extremely valuable, and having accurate, timely data about sold prices is what drives our entire business. So that's not a place where you want to cut corners. There are some sites out there you may have heard of, like Zillow and Redfin. Great for people who are just going out and buying houses, and they love to go and look at pictures and save their favorites and stuff. But it's not designed for real estate investing. It doesn't have comping algorithms, doesn't track investment activity. It doesn't show you some of the most valuable information about a property that will help you make better investment decisions. So we built Privy over 10 years ago because we wanted a better, more effective and efficient way of doing real estate investment activities, finding deals, running comparables, building automation into our business so we didn't have to do everything manually. And so several iterations later, what you see is what we have now. Now, the blue areas in that, this map right here is a map of our data sources. Wherever you see blue are areas that we've already have live direct to MLS data. That's over 100 markets. We just launched several new markets recently. The ones that are pink, those are markets that we're currently working on. And the areas where you see yellow and gray are where we have what's called third-party listing data. And if you're familiar with some of our competitors, just great competitors like a PropStream or Batch Leads, we all have that third-party data set. So we have that same level of data nationwide, but we're adding the direct to MLS data on top of it to increase the quality of it so that you guys have that information at your disposal, so you're more confident in the deals and then in the numbers, right? Because that's really where everything is coming back to. Is it's a numbers business, right? So if you're not confident in your numbers, that trickles down in everything else you do. You won't make offers, you will hesitate, you will procrastinate, you won't take the action that you need to take in your business to really get to where you want to be, and that's to hit your financial goals likely. So that's what this coverage map means. We're going to add more and more markets. We got a bunch more coming. This is going to constantly change. Now, I know there's a lot of wholesalers in this group, but we're going to talk about looking for deals in general. So the strategies I'm going to show you, you can use for any exit strategy. So if you want to do wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold, short-term rental, long-term rental, creative deal structure like seller financing or subject to, or some hybrid of those approaches, this is going to work for any strategy. If you've never done a deal, we've got hundreds of people that have found their very first deal on Privy. If you are seasoned and you've been around for a while, we've got people who've done hundreds of deals using Privy and the strategies I'm going to show you. So whatever you're looking for, I'm certain that we'll be able to help you. In a situation where you're looking for discounted deals, right? We typically use what we call ARV, or after repair value, to measure how good a deal is. So the deeper the percentage of ARV, the better the deal. In the Colorado market, you can probably go up to 73, 75% of the ARV, and then you can find a viable deal. In other markets, that won't fly. I just got off a live, and we were looking at Southern California. They go up to about 75% of the ARV. Now, the reason why I know that is because the data tells me that. And what I can do is I can show you very quickly by clicking this button here. This is what we call investor activity. We track all these different strategies. If you click this button here, this is going to track on the map where all the investment activity is nationwide, where we can actually start to do some market research, which will help us to, number one, choose the most viable areas for looking for deals, get access to the data that we need to analyze our deals, because not all data is created equal, and also find the people who are moving and shaking on the ground, like real estate investor-friendly agents, buyers, other types of investors. So this right here is a heat map. Where you see lots of blue, there's more investor activity. Where you don't see blue is where there's not investor activity. And as I zoom in a little bit here, this starts to become much more clear about what we're looking at. So you can see in rural areas, farmland, areas where a lot of people don't live, where there's the sales activity is low, you're going to see lots of barren areas, right? So, you don't want to be looking for deals in Dodge City or Hayes, Kansas, or Taos, Albuquerque. Could you stumble into a deal in one of those markets? You likely could. But the way I look at it is it's opportunity cost. So every minute you're spending looking for a deal in Taos is a minute you're not looking for a deal that is in a high investor activity area. The high investor activity areas have those big circles with high numbers. So we've made it very visual. So if you're brand new, you don't have to understand a bunch of graphs or spreadsheets or, calculations or analytics. Like, you literally can just go like, oh yeah, there's a big blue circle. I'm going to look for deals there. That's how simple it can be. So where are some of those markets? So Denver actually is a market that is moderate investment activity. Kansas City is a good market you might consider. As we start to go, a lot of these areas end up being in the Midwest and on the East Coast. The West Coast is a lot more difficult. I will look I will show you here in a bit, like Arizona. Phoenix is one of the hottest markets in the country. Dallas Fort Worth is one of the hottest markets, but I'm going to show you here. Look at the Milwaukee area, over 2,000 deals. One of the hottest markets in the entire country right now is the Chicago market. Over 4,000 deals have been done in the last 12 months. That's what all this is. It's a rolling 12 months from today till till January 30th of last year, right? It's a rolling 12 months. Detroit has a lot of investment activity. Chantel was asking about Charlotte. Charlotte actually has more investment activity than any other area in the Carolinas. So right here, here's Charlotte, 2838. Better than most areas in South Carolina, and better than Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Raleigh-Durham. We do have direct to MLS there for you, Chantel. That's Canopy, I think, in that market. When you look at Tennessee, Nashville is going to be the hottest area, but you're going to see some activity as well in Memphis. Atlanta is always hot. Atlanta is one of the hottest markets in the country. If you get down in the southeastern U.S., the hottest market is going to be right in the St. Petersburg and Tampa areas. That's going to be hotter than Jacksonville, Orlando, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Now, earlier I mentioned Dallas-Fort Worth. So what's unique about Dallas-Fort Worth is that it's in a non-disclosure state. And one of the things, if you're not familiar with that, that means that the state has decided that the final sales price of a property shouldn't be public record. And so they don't show that on public sites like Redfin and Zillow. But because our platform is not publicly facing, it is private, and we've worked out some stuff with the MLSs, we're able to show that inside of our system. So it would be impossible to do wholesaling or fix and flipping in a market that was in a non-disclosure state if you didn't have those final sold prices. And so I don't know how people navigate that area. Sometimes they'll, work with agents, or they'll, pretend to be a real estate agent assistant, something like that. But we do have direct to MLS in the 4 major cities in Texas, and we'll be adding more as well.
So Benson, Nancy's talking about, why is the East Coast section more blue than West? Is it just population density and just, lot more land out West? Is that as simple as it can be, or is there something more to it?
It's a good question. I don't know that it has to do specifically with population density. I think a lot of it has to do with prices. So you're going to see more fix and flip activity in an area that has low to moderate prices, because fix and flippers are very good about making sure that they've got a large audience for their end product. So where you find like luxury flips, there's less buyers. So you're going to see fewer of those transactions. So high priced areas like the West Coast, LA, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, San Diego, you're going to see a lot less activity than in a price that's moderately priced or lower priced. I think that's probably the main reason, but I don't know for a fact.
Laura's asking about Knoxville. Can you take a peek to see what kind of activity is happening there?
Yeah, Knoxville is obviously it's a smaller market. But right here you can see there's let me zoom in a little bit more here. Decent amount of activity there. Knoxville actually has some, I would say, probably moderate activity. Knoxville is not an area we have direct to MLS in yet. It does have I'm going to show you, it has a lot of different things. You'll be able to do 90% of the stuff that you could do in Nashville as you could Knoxville. But that's a decent market. Cool. So one of the things that I did way back a year and a half ago when I was trying to find a market to target is I wanted to find high investor activity where I knew there was demand for properties. I wanted low prices, and I wanted properties that I could actually rent out. I wanted to find something that had good cap rates. That's what measures how good a rental property will perform. And I looked at a bunch of different markets. I settled on 3 possible markets. I settled on St. Louis, Chicago, and Indianapolis, and they're all fairly close proximity wise. So here's St. Louis, Chicago's right up here, and here's Indianapolis. So like just a little bit of a triangle. And I compared all of them. Now, Chicago had way more investor activity than the other 2 markets, but it didn't have something I was looking for, and that was for a landlord-friendly state. It's really renter-friendly. It has higher taxes, and it's hard to work with renters there. This is just historically what it is. So I decided I was going to look at, it was going to be between Indianapolis and St. Louis. Both of those markets are actually pretty good, but St. Louis was a market that I was very interested in because I had a friend that was doing some stuff there virtually from Denver as well. So I drilled down on the St. Louis market, and I'd never been there, right? So you might be thinking to yourself, like, boy, how would I ever, do deals in a market where I don't know anybody? I don't know what a deal looks like. I don't know, what's going on there. So that was a challenge, right? But here's one of the things I learned by researching data. Oftentimes, I'll know a market better than people who live there and are doing deals there because I have the data at my disposal. One time I was doing a live and I was showing Chicago, and there was this area called Roseland, I think it was, or Rosewood. And I was showing it, and I was like, this is the hottest market in all of the Chicagoland area. And this guy was adamant, like, there's no way, like, he's like, that's where I do deals. I live in that area. There's no way that's the hottest one. And we actually set up a time to do another call. And I went and I showed him, like, here's all the flips that happen on this area. And he's like, holy moly. And he didn't even know.
Wow.
So the data can be very powerful, but there's a comfortability barrier there to being able to take action. And a lot of people think that when you look at a house with your own 2 eyes and you can walk around it and you can see it, you can touch it, that's going to help you make a better investment decision. And that's not always the case. And, you might be able to see some things on a house, like there's a structural issue, maybe the house is crooked or there's a tree growing through the middle of it that you won't see if you are virtual. Like those things are true. But you can solve a lot of that visibility issues by just partnering up with people on the ground there, like agents or other investors. The data really is what's going to help you make a better investment decision and help you get confident in your numbers and take action. So when I drill down into the St. Louis market, I'll kind of show you like what I was looking at. Now, the data is different now than it was. And so much so that this area up here with this 59s and 60s, it wasn't even close to that. It was probably half that amount back then. And that's one of the cool things about data is it evolves based off of what's happening today. And you don't want to be making decisions based off of data that happened a year and a half ago. So when I was looking at St. Louis, this area right down in here was the hottest market. So if I drill down a little bit closer here and look at this, then I'll be able to see what's happening on the ground. So once I get closer, these clusters is what they're called. They're showing us the activity, but once you get close enough, you can see the individual transactions. And this is where I think the magic is, Tracy. is being able to see the individual transactions. Like you can see what investors bought properties for, you can see what they've sold them for, you can see the percentage of after repair value, you can see the before and after pictures. That's something that people really like about Privy. It's a game changer.
100%. And just the the ability to know that there are active flippers on that block, that you're looking at that property, and then the fact that you can tap into the data in Privy to find that cash buyer, that person, that flipper that actually flipped the property, and even potentially connect with them to sell them your deal. It's a huge connection point. At least it was for me and my team.
Oh, it is. And a lot of it's in our own heads, right? Like we're looking for reasons why things won't work instead of like reasons why things should work. And I struggle with that every day, but you know, practice, repetitions is what will help you get you to a place where you're comfortable, and also just looking at the numbers. So right here, this is a house that's in this. So this map are all the homes that were flipped. Now, again, I'm not suggesting that you have to flip, but if we are looking for properties that we can get at a discount, we always measure that discount based off of a percentage of after repair value. So the after repair value is the sold prices of the homes that were flipped. And then if you can get it at a deep enough discount, then you can do whatever you want with it. You could wholesale it or keep it as a rental. And then we'll look at purely like cash flow type scenarios here in a moment where, yeah, you'd love to get a discount, but really you're most interested in like, cash flow, like getting a return on that investment on a monthly basis. We'll look at that here in a moment, but even landlords love to get a discount.
Mm-hmm.
So here's some of these houses. So these houses are all the ones that were flipped, and these are sorted by sold date. So right here, if I click this property card, this is going to show me the house that was flipped. Now this report is called a live comparative market analysis. This is something that if I tried to go build with the MLS, it would take me all day to try to piece it all together. I'd have to pull data from different sources, but Privy's building one of these for every house in the US. And so this one, because it was on the MLS, has these rich photos. So we can see, exactly what it looks like. We can see what kind of renovation they did, what kind of materials they used. We can get design ideas. But really the most important thing for us as investors to take away from this is, where's the bar been set? Is this an area where you have to build to meet the expectations of millionaires who are expecting crown molding and Viking appliances and, waterfall islands? Or is it rental grade? Is it Formica and linoleum? And, is it painted cabinets? Like those are all things that you don't want to have to try to figure out. Below that is the section called comparables. So, and I'm sure you run across this all the time, Tracy, is that comping is one of the most difficult challenges for people.
Mm-hmm.
Determining what a property is worth in its as is condition, and then what is it going to be worth after it's been fixed up? What's the after repair value? And the way we figure that out is by looking at similar houses to the one we're looking at, similar bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, stories, property type, property style, all the stuff that an appraiser would do if they're appraising a house, and agents. We've basically baked that philosophy and standard operating procedure, the SOPs of comping, into our system. So you don't have to be a comping expert. If I was going to, it is, it's a huge time saver. So if I wanted to comp a property out using my MLS data here in Colorado, even with my 20 years of experience and having the best data available to me, it could take me a couple hours to do it, one house properly. But Privy's doing that for you. So like, here's all the true comparables of this house. It's a 2-1, 816 square foot home. So we got the sold, pending, active, and we also have the rental comps here. So if I click the rental one, that switches the view to show us what houses in the area are renting for. And there's quite a range here. You can see this one goes for 650, 625, and they go all the way up to basically 1,500 a month. But then you can click that and you can see, okay, well, this one that went for 1,500 a month looks like it's actually been renovated. They've done some work to it. Our rental data comes directly from property management companies. So that's really, really powerful when you're trying to figure out if a property is going to cash flow and what condition does it need to be in to meet that $1,500 level. Whereas like a house like this that goes for 650 on one of those is going to be a much lower quality. So you can kind of gauge where you need to be. This doing a CMA like this would save me hours. Like, and that's with my data. Like, you can't go and build one of these out there. It's just very difficult to do. And then here's that the rental data down here, and you can see all of those. And then below that, we show you the before and after. So we can see here they bought this house in February. It's right here at the top. It might be small for you, of 2023. This here is showing the street view because this house was purchased directly from the seller. If they had purchased it from the MLS, we would show you the photos that was on that original MLS listing. And then there'd also be an MLS ID here with the agent that listed it. Over here on the right, we can see that this one was listed on Maris. That's the MLS in St. Louis, and it was sold by Fritz McAvoy. So that was one of the very first things that I did when I started like looking around the St. Louis market. Is I wanted to find an agent who was investor friendly on the ground, who would be interested in working with me. So I just looked at like the last 10 to 20 closed deals, so I get a sense of what the activity was, and also to see if I could find an agent. And I found 3 agents to start, and eventually narrowed it down to one named Nika, who became my eyes and ears on the ground in that market. And Nika and I built a strong relationship. We built like some like basic like standard practices, and it ended up working great. We did a bunch of deals together, but I found her by doing this same process that I'm showing you. No, we don't do skip tracing currently. The other thing is starting to understand what a deal looks like. So right here, we can see that they bought it for 89 grand. Remember, this was direct to seller. They sold it for 215,000. 89,000 is 42% of 215. So that's how we measure deals again. We have a filter that will, in a minute, I'll show you guys that. We're going to find some deals live and give them to you. Around 75% is where properties start to look like deals. Realistically, you're going to find deals anywhere from like 40 to 75%. That's kind of like the sweet spot. This one was purchased at 42%. Now, no one property is going to give us all the information we need to really understand a local market. It's just one data point. Okay. But this is what that person was able to do. You can see the price per square foot. I mean, it just jumped up. It basically, I mean, I don't even know what the numbers on that, but 54 to 263. We have timelines. So to understand like how long a project takes can be very valuable, especially if you're doing your own fix and flips. You have to factor in the time of a flip and also the cost of the money over that same time period. And so if you think that a flip is going to take you 60 days and you look at all of the houses and they're all taking upwards of 9 months to get done, then maybe you should, check back into reality on what a flip really takes. Days on the market, total hold time, 337 days from when they bought the house to when they put the check in the bank. Below that is the public record section. So we can see some deed information, the assessor's records, mortgage history. Looks like that there was a mortgage on this house before they flipped it. The property history, we can see that they originally listed it for 225 and then they finally sold it for 215. So you can see those price reductions and status changes. What my favorite part about the assessor's section is I can see who the flippers are. So Tracy, earlier you mentioned about building a buyer's list. This is City Sons LLC. Building a buyer's list is a challenge in any market, especially virtually. But the key in building a buyer's list is finding people that are active today that actually have the financial capability of closing on a deal and ultimately giving you an assignment fee on a property that you find. If you're an agent, it's a great way to build a potential target list for new clients. But City Sons is a fix and flipper in this market. And what I started doing is reaching out to some of these buyers. So I basically took City Sons and I did a Google search. And I won't do this now because we can't show people's public information on these streaming platforms that we're on. But I took that City Sons and I would do a Google search and I would do City Sons LLC, St. Louis. And it's going to pull me up and show me either like an open corporates website or Dun & Bradstreet or the Secretary of State. And then I can find who their director or manager is, or the agent for that company. And then I go to a website called True People Search, and I can show you guys this, but I won't actually put the real name in there. This is a free skip tracing service, and I use it. It's pretty accurate. So what I would do is I would just type the name of the person in here and their city, state, and zip, and it's going to show me phone numbers, email addresses. It'll even show you like which phone number on the list was used last. Very, very powerful. This is truepeoplesearch.com, 100% free. This service exists because they try to upsell you into paid services like pulling background checks and stuff like that, but you don't have to do any of it. So very, very awesome service. So maybe I can put this in the chat for everybody. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, I threw truepeoplesearch.com in the one chat. I'm going to throw it on Facebook as well, or any of the Facebook listeners in my group. If you could throw that as well out there, that would be great. Thanks so much, Benson, for throwing that out.
Oh yeah.
You know what else I love too, Benson, is just the information about the breakdown that you have on the screen right there. And you know, when you're looking at someone's buy box, and you have a person that you're working with, and they say, you know, I only do, you know, this type of foundation, or I only do, you know, like in Florida, I don't do, you know, the wood frame, or I just do block, whatever it might be. You can eliminate really quickly if you know your buy box just by looking very fast and getting very familiar with it, that information that's readily available to you right on the same screen. What I love about this is you're just scrolling all on one page. I'm not navigating all over the place. Everything is right there. It's very intuitive and very logical.
It is. And I like that you pointed that out, because people will, it's all a negotiation, right? So when somebody says they don't do something, they're oftentimes just looking for a way to get you down on price or lower your assignment fee, or it's all in negotiation, right? But when I see that the buyer that flipped this house bought a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,411 square foot ranch in 63139, I know a little bit of their buy box because I know this house fits in it, right? I know that they'll be willing to do that. The other thing I know about this buyer is they're willing to buy from the MLS. Buyers love to tell you, oh, I will only buy stuff off market, right? Directly from the seller. They're only looking for stuff that's not on the MLS. The majority of deals in many markets, not every market's the same way. We did like a nationwide average about a year ago, and it was about 60% of all the deals that were on that we were tracking came from the MLS. And this is a perfect example of one. This is remember earlier I showed you that house that was bought directly from the seller. It only had a street view, but this one was purchased in June of 2023. And you can see what the house looks like before it was fixed up. So here's the house. I want to find, their photographer did a great job on this house.
Looks tremendous.
Yeah.
I did real estate photography in a resort town. You'd be so surprised how bad photography can kill a deal. So, you know, it's such an important thing, because you look at these pictures, Benson, before and after, and you're just blown away. And I just love the fact that it's right there in front of me. And if you're new to real estate investing and you need to really understand, or maybe you're flipping houses and you need to understand what types of finishes are people doing in this style house, in this size house, in this zip code. Maybe they're just doing the straight out linoleum, or they're not doing, they're doing luxury vinyl plank flooring versus hardwood. You get a good feel when you look at enough of the before and afters as to where you need to keep your finishes on a flip.
100%. And that decision alone will paralyze people. It's like one more thing they have to think about. When you can just look at this and be like, oh, okay, well, if I just do this to my house, then I can get a similar price, as long as it's a similar area and similar price point with bedrooms and bathrooms like this. So it's like almost like a blueprint. It's a cheat code. Like,
Yeah.
just do this.
I found so many little things on Privy that provide so much information. And you have all the tutorials in your little university section, which walks any new person just entering into the platform, that teaches you all the basics, even creating workflows and saving lists and getting them sent to your inbox. I mean, there's so many features and exciting things that help make your work more efficient and work for you versus against you, which I love also. So,
Oh yeah, that automation is a huge part of it. I'll show you guys that here in a minute. Because once we figure out, we do our local market research, we figure out where the sweet spot is. Like this one was at 62%, right? So it went from 42 or 3 to 62. So there's a big range there, about 20%. But one of the things I take away from this is like, oh my gosh, like this buyer is willing to buy from the MLS up to 62% of the ARV. And when I first started doing virtual wholesale in St. Louis, I targeted buyers like this almost exclusively. I wanted to work with buyers that I knew would buy from the MLS, that were willing to go a little bit higher percentage of ARV wise. And then I just talked to them and completed their buy box, asked about, what's their highest price point, what bedrooms, bathrooms, which areas, and I could really complete the picture of what they're willing to buy. And then I was like, okay, well, you bought this house on Macklin, you went up to 62% of that. If I can find a property that's in similar condition to Macklin, and I can get it for less than 62%, would that be something you'd be interested in? And it was a resounding, well, yeah. Right. So I was able to get them to basically set the expectation of what they were looking for, just purely based off the data. I didn't have to go and prod and earn their trust over time and eventually pull out of them what their unicorn buy box is. I was like, you bought this house. Like they can't lie about what their buy box is, because I'm showing them a house they purchased. So it was a really good way to turn a cold call into a warm call and build trust and build credibility quickly by just leveraging what was on my screen. And so I would have this up as I was talking to him, and it was very, very helpful.
yeah, you're having educated conversations. You're prepared for the phone call because you have the data in front of you to support what you're saying. You can even speak directly to the agents and or the buyers and say, I see you just sold a property that was a flip on 123 Main Street. And, I'd love to hear if you get these types of properties all the time, and you start the conversation off based on what their success is. Now, if you start talking about someone's success, their ears are wide open. They're
Oh, yeah.
loving that you already have done some research. And the trick is that Privy's done it for you. You're just looking at it and you're utilizing that as your leverage, as Benson said in the conversation, which makes you totally believable. And,
Mhm.
I think it gives you the proofing that you need, especially if you're new and you're just starting out.
Yeah, it helps with that confidence too, because it isn't natural for a lot of people to get on a phone and do cold calling. And I know for a lot of people who are just getting started, that is, they dread those calls. But when you have this information in front of you, and you can basically demonstrate that you've done some work and you've done some research and stuff about their transaction, and you're giving them compliments, that conversation is way more smooth than if you just called and was like, hey, I'm a wholesaler in the area. You want to do some deals together? They're going to be like, oh, yeah, just text me your info and I'll call you back. Right. And then
Right.
it's like click, and then you're never going to hear from them again.
So true. I love that. We'd love to
So
hear from you. Drop some comments for us. What are you loving about what we're sharing here, what Benson is showing you? There are so many really incredible nuggets of gold in front of me that I can tell you of someone who has operated a virtual wholesaling team, how incredible Privy was to everything that we did. So you're speaking to
Oh
someone
yeah.
who has used it hands on, myself, and just the fact that I think so many people are so confused in so many ways, and to make something simple and to make something so accessible and easy, to me, is a game changer, and I'm so excited to present it because I just love it.
Well,
People
thank you
loving
for
it.
that.
This is
Yeah,
great.
like that's the cool thing about it is it does what it's supposed to do. And some people are saying like they love to see that this is working. It's simple to use. Laura was saying that, but also too, she asked how often is it updated? If you're in a direct to MLS area like St. Louis, and the map before, I'll show you again on the map. Wherever you see blue, oh, you're probably not going to see this. I'm sharing my tab. Sorry. If you remember the map, wherever there was blue, it's direct to MLS. Those update almost every hour. So like if a property was fixed and flipped and sold an hour ago in this market, it would show here.
That's
Now,
huge.
if you're in one of those third party areas like Wyoming, it may be days before it's updated, and it won't have like the photos or the agent info or the MLS ID. So the data is limited there, just because that's the nature of what basically everybody has. Again, we step it up and we go and we negotiate those MLS data contracts to really increase the quality of those properties. Something that's newer is we actually have Privy users that are agents in many markets. And so we got 2 agents here in the St. Louis market that you could potentially work with. These are agents that are investor friendly, that know how to use Privy, that have raised their hand and said, yeah, I'm looking for clients. So, this is a free resource. We don't make any money off of making those connections. We just introduce you guys together because we know it's sometimes hard to find investor friendly agents.
Yeah, I love that so much. Just the fact that you can go in there, make the connections with agents that are ready to work with you, are already tuned into the real estate investing space, understand the language, is half
Mhm.
the battle. Because you're an agent too, correct, Benson, or were?
I am
Um,
an agent
you are an
in
agent, so you
Colorado. Yeah.
understand there's a lot out there that don't, speak the language of the investor side. So once you get a solid agent that gets it and sees the money that can be made for the agent and the
Oh yeah.
investor, it's a win-win all the way around.
It really is. And it's hard to find the right people too. And you might find a bunch of investor friendly agents, but you know, do you have a good, potential working relationship? Do you vibe, right? Are you guys, speaking the same language? There's some investor friendly agents that I know that are they've been around for 30 years and like their time is very valuable and they're not interested in working with brand new people, right? And that's okay. They get to choose who they work with. So my challenge, when I was looking to do some stuff in St. Louis, is that they're like, well, you're in Colorado. Like, how are you going to do this? And so I had some skeptical agents that were, really filling me out. And so I eventually ended up with Nika. We were seeing eye to eye, and that's okay. Like, you're not going to find the agent you want to work with right out of the gates. The other thing I'll say too is that agents can help you with on-market properties, but they're not always going to be able to help you with off-market. So if you're working a purely off-market strategy, which we can help you with too, then an agent may not be the best partner. But I always went in with a dual strategy. I was going to look for on-market properties, so I knew I could get Nika some money through the commissions that were already set up on those. And then when I found an off-market property, Nika was like, "Sure, I'll go look at that house for you." And then I would just pay her on the back end and be like, "Hey, Nika, thanks for looking at that property and helping me to confirm my comps. Here's $1,000, right?" So it's a win-win, right? It's all about relationships. At the end of the day, everybody just wants to make money, right? And this is a better way to kind of level the playing field. And that's the other thing that I did with Nika too, is I told her, like, listen, I've got a software program that allows me to run my own comps. I can basically do my own research. I can take a lot of stuff off of your plate, things that you would normally have to do for the average investor, I can do on my own. So basically, I don't need you to hold my hand. I just need you to help me confirm my numbers and maybe go look at a property or two once I find some houses that look interesting, and make sure that the photos that I'm seeing is really what the reality is. And so she would go out and look at properties for me, take photos, do some quick videos, put them in a Google Drive. And then I would look at those, and then she'd be like, "Oh yeah, we're fine on the offer." Or she'd say, "You know what, on this house, we need to offer 20 grand less because it looks like there's a foundation issue and it's got an outdated electrical panel." Right? Like stuff like that, she would help me out with. But it ended up being a really good relationship. And that just, worked out fantastic. And I just did it all through the platform.
So, Benson, when you're looking at a target area, let's say on this particular screen, you don't want to cross Route 386, and you want to draw a circle around a boundary to eliminate all of, maybe there's too much on the screen, and you want to hone in on a very a very concise area. Could you do a circle draw for everyone to show how you can eliminate things that are not in maybe your cash buyer's target area that you're searching for directly?
100%. So there's a little drawing tool up here in the right-hand corner. You can click that. And there's two places where you can draw. You can draw on this view where you're basically selecting which areas that your properties are going to show, the properties that you're looking at. So I can click this, and then I can come over here and I can draw. And then actually, let's just say we wanted to go just like right here, you said, I think. And that eliminates anything outside that zone. And so like if someone told you, yeah, I want to be south of, 386, I want to be north of the 30, you can create that zone. You can also filter it based off of zip codes or cities. So we got a bunch of different filters here. And then once we start looking for active properties, I'll show you how you can filter by purchase price, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, all these different filters here you can do. I mean, I suppose while we're looking at it as well, I mentioned earlier that you can look for off-market properties that aren't currently for sale. Maybe somebody who's in a distress situation like foreclosure or a vacant house, or absentee owner, which is just another term for like a landlord, somebody who has rental properties. Tired landlord, which is a landlord who has a property that they've owned for over 8 years. And then a zombie property, which is a term that it has two basic definitions, but the one we're using for this is that it's a rental property that's vacant. So a landlord who has a rental property that has no renter in it probably would be motivated to sell more than if there was a renter in it, right? So we allow you to pull lists of up to 10,000 per month. And you can just download those right into a CSV file. And we give you way more leads than anybody can manage, 10,000, but you can use those for things like for finding off-market leads, but also to export buyers. So like right in here, there's 22 buyers. So I could download this into a CSV and I can see all those buyers. I can take that list and upload it into a skip trace service like Best Skip Tracers. If you guys aren't familiar with that, Skippy the Bear, my favorite skip tracing service. And they'll go in and they'll do the skip tracing for you, and kick you back phone numbers and emails that you can use to contact those people. But that's right in this zone. So the other way, and I'll show you that right now, the other thing you can do is look for active properties. So there's off market. We give you the ability to create lists that you can go and target with mailers or skip tracing, or you could do cold calling, text blasting, which is not as kosher as it used to be, and any other knocking on doors, whatever you're into. Or you could find the low-hanging fruit, which is what I did when I first targeting St. Louis, because I was only looking at on-market deals to wholesale. And so that's why this is a great filter, is that if you're looking at a high investor activity area, like we showed you, wherever the big blue circles, you're going to have a higher amount of on-market properties where the numbers work. The goal is to find the unrenovated house or the crappy house that's in the same neighborhood as areas where people are flipping. So you want to find the unrenovated home that's down the street from the house that was just fixed and flipped. And we have an automation that we built into Privy that does that for you. So let me remove this boundary because we know this whole area is viable. And I'm going to click this button right here, find similar active deals. This is actually patent pending. And what we're essentially doing is we're taking all of these closed deals and we use that as a model for what a successful deal looks like. And then we reverse engineer it. So I'm going to click find. And now Privy's going in and it's analyzing all the houses in this area. And it's going to show us houses that we can buy today that we can write offers on where the numbers make sense. Now I'm going to adjust the filter here because there is a standard filter that we run right out of the gates, 75%. I've done enough research in the St. Louis market to know I need to be lower than 58% to find properties that my buyers are going to be interested in, right? Doing my research and also looking at and also talking to people. But this even is lower because remember that last buyer we looked at, Tracy? They bought at 62%. So this is 4% lower than that. And let's say I did talk to one of those buyers. I think one of them was it Cisco? I can't remember. But let's say you talk to a buyer and they said, you know what, we want to buy less than $200,000 in St. Louis. So we can come in here and create our filter. Let's just say 210. Maybe they want at least a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Year built, maybe like they don't want to buy anything that's older than 1950. So you can build your buy box that you want for your properties, maybe for rentals or for fix and flips or, you know, creative deal structure, or based off of what your buyers want. And buyers could be from a wholesale perspective, or if you're an agent, you could find properties for your clients. And we've got a lot of agents that use this for that same purpose. And that's, again, why we built it in the first place. So I'm going to run this search here, and this is going to change the filter. And now here's properties that we can write offers on right now. So this house right here just came on the market recently. It's $52,000. If you're in Colorado or anywhere on the West Coast or some of these more expensive cities, probably think you couldn't find a garage for 52 grand. But I've found properties. I purchased a property from Privy. It was on market for $40,000. I got them down because I had an issue. I went in and cleaned it up, and then within a week sold it again for 60 grand. It was a $20,000 increase in price using the same strategy I'm showing you guys. So I'm going to come down here. 52,000 is the ask price. The reason why this house was flagged as a potential deal is because it's in an area where the same similar houses are selling between 133,000 up to 195,000. So this property at asking price, right? We don't know exactly what condition it's in, right? We can look at the photos, is between 27 and 39% of the ARV. We know based off of our market research that there were buyers buying at 42 and 62%. In my own personal research, people wanted to be below 58%. This is a potentially viable deal. Now, if you're doing things the old fashioned way, let's say you were doing off market, you might have to call, 50 people a day and do a bunch of outreach. And we all know that the fortune is in the follow-up. You might have to call somebody over and over again, up to, I think it's between 8 and 12 times, to find someone who's potentially even wants to have a conversation with you before you can even write an offer. We got people who are writing 20 and 30 offers a day using the same strategy. So are there viable deals off market? For sure. But why not get some of these low-hanging fruit while you're in the process of doing it? 52 grand. So this house does need quite a bit of work. But I know there's buyers in this market that would do this deal. So 50,000. So I'm going to share this one with you guys. I'm going to put this in the chat. We have this really cool share feature. What I would do initially is I would send these to Nika. So I would just type in Nika's email address. And in the message, I would say, hey, Nika, I think the ARV is right around 150 on this property. I want to offer 45,000, 30-day close, $500 earnest money deposit, 10-day inspection period, cash offer, right? And then she would know also to put an assignment clause in the contract because we had already worked that out beforehand. And then she would just send me a DocuSign, sign it, sends it off. She's got my proof of funds. She's got my a photocopy of my earnest money deposit, submits the offer. Then we start negotiating. So I would just do a bunch of these every single day. So I'm going to, again, share this with the group. There's that. I put in there, I don't know everyone that can see this. It looks like it's going to some of those. I'll also put it in the private chat for those people that got in there. I don't know how they got in there, but it's all good. Actually, it's not allowing me to put them in there. Let's try this again. Tracy, while I'm doing this, oh, there it goes. No, you put the Facebook group in there.
I put the link and the, yeah, I just dropped it in there. Where did it go? I put the discount link with promo code twice in both chats because I have Facebook going and the other chat that's going that are separate. So there's two chats happening here. We're going to get to all your questions in a few minutes, or whenever Benson wants to do that. But I'll drop the link again.
No, I put the link for the property in the chat.
Oh,
but I wasn't able to post it to the private chat for those folks that got in there.
Oh, okay. Let me do that.
So see if you can, and anywhere else you want to post that too. Let me see if I can find another property. Let's do another market. So one of the other markets that was hot was Tampa. So let's jump into Tampa.
Lots of Florida investors here.
And then I'm going to check this button that says include surrounding areas, because right now, because I type in Tampa, our system is putting the boundary around Tampa proper, not the surrounding areas. So I'm going to change that. And I also know in Tampa, they'll go a lot higher on the percentage of ARV. So I'm going to raise this to 65%. And I also have to raise the purchase price because it's hard to find properties less than 210,000 in Tampa. So I'm going to raise this up to 510-ish. Rerun it. Oh, cool. We got somebody that's on Facebook that says this is their area. So did it take my include? It did. All right. So here's a house, 299. This one's 349, 152. This one looks like a mess. 214. Let's see. I'm getting a little bit older here. Oh, look at this one. 125. So this house is 125. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And look at all the comps. So look at all these houses that are comparables to the one we're looking at. And one of the things I like about this, and this is proprietary to Privy too, is this little badge right here, this blue V with the Y on it. That's called Privy Preferred. So earlier I told you the goal is to find the unrenovated house that's down the street from the renovated houses. And Privy does that for you when you leverage the comping algorithm that finds deals for you, where you define what percentage you want. And then if you look at the Privy Preferred ones, the ones with the badge, then it's going to make sure that you have a house that meets your percentage of ARV criteria. And then it's going to show you that they're actually comps that were flipped. So look at this. There's like
That's
7
huge right there.
2,
I gotta jump in and say that how much I love that feature of seeing the purchase price and the spread on the deal and what they've made on it right in front of you. You can also adjust if you want to focus on a certain item, let's say days on market or when it was built, because you know what your buy box is and what they're looking for. You can adjust your search based on that and focus on that highlight. So I love that too.
Yep. And you can see here that this is, remember I zoomed into a high investor activity area. I used Privy Preferred. So this house you can buy for 125 is down the street from this house that was just flipped on East Juneau. They purchased theirs for 151 and sold it for 224. It's also a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It's even a little bit smaller than ours. So if I click the little information icon on the one on East Juneau, we'll be able to see that property. So this is the house that was just flipped. Again, we're connecting the dots for you. We just found a house that looks like it's a discount. What do we need to do to it to get to that 223 sales price? So if I scroll down here, we can come into the before and after section, and we can see that this buyer bought theirs from the MLS. They paid $25,000 more than our house is that we can buy right now. They went up to 67% of the ARV. So this buyer would be somebody I would love to work with. So that Facebook user who said that's my area, it doesn't say your name, by the way. That's why I'm calling you Facebook user. Otherwise, I would say your name.
Hold on. I think I can find that. That's Christine Wright.
Okay, Christine. So you want to work with 311 Holdings LLC. They're a buyer who will pay up. They'll go up to 67%. They'll buy a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in Tampa from the MLS, as long as everything else is in place, right? It doesn't mean they'll buy every house at up to 67%, but this is a pretty crappy house. Like, it's got roof issues. Like, it was just a complete mess. Looks like it was a house that was in the middle of a renovation where the previous flipper figured out they were in over their head, or maybe they didn't have enough money to fix this house up, but they got it for $150, finished the renovation, and they grossed $173. So gross means that's their total gross profit. That isn't even like them subtracting out costs. They're not subtracting out construction costs or realtor fees. We don't know how much money they made in it, but the simple fact that we know they're willing to pay up is something that is very interesting to me as a wholesaler who would do deals in this market. So viable deal, right? This one on Elmer Street, 8418. So I'm going to share this one with you guys too. And I don't know if you're getting these, but I'm doing my best to put them in the chat here.
Yeah, I didn't see this one dropped. As soon as I do, I got it. I'll share it in the other chat. These are deals that you need to jump on in the group here. We're actually doing all the research for you using the data available in Privy. As you can see, it's super simple to navigate and find. And really, once you get used to it, Benson, I mean, there's kind of like, you go in there, you know exactly what you're looking for. It's actually pretty quick. At first glance, it might seem like, gosh, how am I going to do this? Well, again, once you get in there and it's so user friendly, you're going to start to see how simple the process can be to curate your lists, to create workflows. It's basically a CRM to make the connections to the buyers, the agents, the other wholesalers. It's really a huge comprehensive tool. And then you have all of the educational pieces. Tracy was asking, I'm just jumping back into it and I want to learn the system. How can I, get a little bit more than, what we're able to accomplish here today?
Yeah, I appreciate you kind of summarizing that for us, because it does. And while you were talking, I just switched over to Dallas to find another market that I know is viable. And this house right here popped up. It's a little bit more expensive. So you're gonna have a smaller end buyer pool, smaller pool of people that can afford this kind of house, but you can get it for $499.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the reason why this one was Privy preferred, see this little tag right here, it's because it's in a neighborhood where there's 2 flips that just happened. And so this house, again, at asking price, is at a percentage of ARV between 57 and 59%. And the after repair value on this is going to be between 850 and 882. So that's the goal here. So this one would be something you might want to look at. Now, one thing I do notice right out of the gates is that we're going to have to see for sure. It says it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. If it's really a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and we can't get another bedroom or 2 in this house, then our after repair value would adjust down the potential ARV. So that's one of the things you want to verify with your boots on the ground, or if you're actually doing stuff in your own market, just making sure that it is what you think it is. But look at this big room here. Like this could easily be turned into another bedroom or two. It looks like it's just a side room. Oh, this might be the living room. But I would see others probably chop it off right here and create an additional bedroom in there, because 2-bedroom homes they're just not very sought after. But anyway, this one is one you should definitely consider as well. And we're not digging deeply into our underwriting right now, you guys. We're just high level, finding potential opportunities, and then looking for ways of making those work. So I'll put these here in the chat as well.
Please throw your questions at us as we're kind of drawing towards the end of our time. Benson's hammering out finding deals at a very rapid pace, so you can see how doable this is once you understand how simple the interface is, the navigation is. Is there an app for this for your phone, or is this primarily desktop, Benson?
It is a website, so we don't have an app, but you can use it on your phone. So all of our phones have Chrome or Internet Explorer or other browsers, and you just log into it like you normally would. Our software is mobile optimized, so when it shows on your phone, it looks just like an app. It looks exactly like an app would. You just don't have to download it.
The promo code, Darren, is Tracy, Tracy. I'm going to throw that in again. We're going to have to go through some of the questions while you're navigating a little bit on the screen. Do you want me to start looking for the questions and throwing them out to you, or did you?
Please.
I don't want to cut you off with this property that you're.
No, ask me questions as we're going. I'm just kind of right now just doing what I do. Like it's a way, it's fairly quick for me to do it. So what's the questions?
Okay, let me just scroll through here. All right, let's see. Somebody wants to know, Laura wants to know, do you cover anything in Central or South America?
No, we don't. All of our data, one of the difficult parts about data is you want to get it what's called normalized. Normalized meaning, like, when you look at a spreadsheet and like there's the categories at the top, there's like, maybe it was like a CSV export of like your contacts, and like you'd have a field for name and then last name and phone number and email address. And cool thing about a spreadsheet is everything's fits in nice and neat into those categories, right? Those columns. It's even today, the data from one MLS to another isn't the same categories. And so we have to take time to like map it all. It doesn't work at all like that in other countries, like even like Canadian information or South America. So no, we don't have that, but I wanted to make that quick explanation of why is that the normalization of the data it's not even like on the same playing field.
So somebody asked about skip tracing. We already answered that, and you recommended Skippy the Bear. Is that correct?
Oh, best skip tracer is the one that I use. What's so cool about them is that and I can find you guys a link for that if you're interested. Is that they are the only company that I know of that has an actual human element in their skip tracing process. And that is crucially important, especially when you're skip tracing LLCs. Because LLCs, if you go in and skip trace, there's 2 steps. Because remember when I was showing you true people search, you guys, you first have to go and find the company, and then find the people that are associated with that company, and then you have to go and actually skip trace the people. They do that for you on scale. And that's why I like Best Skip Tracer, is that they do that for you, and they're priced comparatively or even less than some of the ones you're familiar with.
So some comments. I like the fact that the site doesn't look confusing and it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to keep scrolling here. Some sites just send you in circles and the info is incomplete. I think you'll find that resolved here with Privy. How often is this updated? We already said it's basically it live. It's happening. It's constantly being updated. The depth of information provided is user friendly. I absolutely love it. This is awesome. Off market is huge to be able to find them on Privy. Is there a difference between the investor and agent versions of Privy?
There is. Great question. So the pricing is exactly the same for agents and investor. The only difference is on the agent platform, we can show you a couple different things. We can't show somebody who's not licensed. So we can show you the private remarks. So people who are agents know what that is. It's just remarks that only agents have, and they talk to each other there. We can show you the direct contact information for the listing agent, and agents who set up filters for themselves can also send deals to their clients. So when I go to save a search, this is an agent one, I can actually add my clients right here to it. Unfortunately, we don't have that same feature for investors, but that's the difference. So if you're an agent, sign up for the agent plan, just put your MLS ID or your agent ID in the registration, and then we verify that with the MLS just to make sure you're currently part of it, and then you'll have access to it. But it's the same price.
Do you do both commercial and residential?
Nope, we don't do any commercial. There's basically two companies that dominate the commercial space. It's CoStar, who owns LoopNet now. So LoopNet, and then there's a newer company called Crexy. None of those companies really share data with the public.
Okay, great. Let's
But I
see.
will say before we move on, Tracy, is that we do have multifamily properties in Privy. So right here, there's a checkbox for multifamily. So when I say no commercial, meaning, you're not going to find retail, you're not going to find, like business buildings, gas stations, businesses, and then multifamily properties. And I don't want to get into the weeds too much with this. Most agents, when they're going to list a multifamily property for sale, if it's between 2 and say 5 units, then there's a lot of eyeballs on the MLS, people who will look at the MLS to buy those houses. Can you find a 20 unit building in Privy? You can, if the agent decides to list it there. Off market, for sure. We have all the off market data for multifamily properties in Privy. But for on market, you're going to start to see those numbers, the amount of listings start to dwindle is when you get over 5 units.
Got it. Somebody wants to know, is there a free version trial?
No, there's not a free version of Privy. You can the best thing I would say for that is just go on the monthly plan, see if it makes sense for your business. But it's what you see is what you get. For many people, it's about like, I'm not really sure if the business is for me. Should I wholesale? Should I fix and flip? People are still kind of testing out the waters. But I promise if you use the platform, you're going to absolutely love it.
I think it's going to make you a better investor too. I mean, I'm going to just put that out there as somebody who has tried a variety of different things myself. And I think that one of the things we're all looking for in virtual wholesaling or investing in general is time freedom. You want a one-stop shop. You don't want to be on 5 different sites gathering information and doing all the manual work. The fact that they have workflows, automation, a CRM, the ability to connect with the real people that are going to bring the value and the dollars to your business is huge. That you have access to on market, off market, multifamily. I think that, you have to take into consideration too that it's a tax write-off because it's a business tool. So, are you treating your business as a business? Well, you're going to want the actual, valuable tools that are going to help you excel and get you to the place of getting deals done. And while Benson, you and I both know that everyone has to put in the effort, we can give the tools and we can showcase what is available, but of course you have to use it. So, my biggest thing that I've always said in these types of events is network in the chat, connect with people, reach out, be bold, say, hey, I'm in Florida or I'm in Colorado. Let's connect. Let's talk after this meeting. And then you utilize the tools that you purchase if you get the Privy, and now you can team up and now you can work together. So I think you've just taken this next step. A lot of people get hung up on, how much does something cost? Well, how much is it going to cost you not to do it? Because you're going to be spending a lot of time kind of uncertain how you're going to even pull it off because, this gives you everything in one place. And so it's not right for everybody for sure. But, I think it's just really important to consider that as a one-stop shop that really has pretty much everything. And we've already shared the fact that there's a free skip tracing with truepeoplesearch.com. And plus, then there's the paid service, which is going to give you obviously a better result. So you really have a lot at your disposal here. So Tracy
Mhm.
wants to know, how do we know what has direct to MLS? So we're seeing blue. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's the blue on the map. So there's going to be a blue on the map, and then all of the MLS listings when you zoom into an area, they're going to have the blue right here. This right here tells it's direct to MLS. So we put the blue on the map so you understand the general area. And then when you drill down onto the area, you're going to see that there are these little blue lines on those listings that shows that it's directly from the North Texas MLS.
Awesome. Nancy wants to
Um,
know, where do you think the hottest market is right now? And
it's
is
Philadelphia.
heavy, yeah, heavier.
Philadelphia is number one.
Okay, Philadelphia,
Yeah.
there's your answer. Um, Nancy wants to know, do you have a filter that shows how much rehab was done on a house? If he bought the house at 89K, how much did he put into the house? So you're going to see the before
No.
and after.
Yeah, that data is not publicly available. So that's just on their own books. So
Yeah.
we'll never know how much somebody actually spent on a property. That's why when you start realizing what a deal is about, you know, like St. Louis, 58% of the ARV, we don't have to know how much they spent on it. If I go in and I know all my buyers are buying at around 58%, the difference there, that 42% has to capture all their profit, all their costs, and any other miscellaneous into that 42%. So that's why when we measure gross, it takes into account what they're going to spend. That's why if a house is in really, really bad condition, maybe that 8% needs to go down to 40% because now we've got extra costs involved. But we'll never know. That's just not publicly available. That's a good, very, very good question, though. Nice.
Okay. I love the fact that with Privy and being new to REI, you can do your due diligence and sound intelligence when you speak to either buyer or realtor. Yes, that's priceless. All right. So somebody's excited to dive back into Privy. So maybe you had to take some time away and diving back in. I would love to buddy up with anyone in Colorado Springs. There's a real estate investor friendly agent here in the chat. Harry Brannon dropped his Blink card. Thank you for that. I've seen another Blink card. So thank you for sharing your contact information. Great way to connect with people here that are all of like mind and interested in doing deals. Colorado Springs wants to know if you can search that area and show them what that looks like. Again, we did say earlier, Colorado is a challenging market for sure. I live in Colorado Springs
Yeah.
and I know firsthand, and I'm connected to some large cash buyers and flippers here in the area. And if you can find a deal in Colorado Springs, I know for sure I have a buyer.
Yeah, we can look to see if there is any deals. Like that's the interesting thing about Colorado Springs is that where every market is, we don't create or destroy deals. Privy doesn't create deals or destroy the deals. We just use algorithms and automation to find those more quickly and more effectively. So let's change the prices here a bit.
While you're looking, Peggy, I just want to answer the skip tracer that Benson mentioned was Skippy the Bear.
Bestskiptracer.com is the company. And then Skippy is their mascot. He's the one that they donate the 5% of all their sales proceeds to the International Polar Bear Fund, I think it's called, something like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. I dropped the link to purchase. There's a promo code with my name on it, Benson. What are they getting if they purchase from the group today?
Oh, a great question. We should have addressed that earlier. I was so distracted. So you'll get 20% off if you go on the monthly plan your first month. And then after that, it'll be 149 per month. So it goes down to 119 for that first month. If you are committed to your success and you really want to put some skin in the game and get the annual plan, then we take 30% off of the whole price. So that lowers it all the way down to $12.52 for the year.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm not
Gail.
seeing much here. Like we're seeing some things here, but actually while I'm here, I will show you. Sometimes the system will identify something like this as like a potential deal, right? And it's like, well, how is this even viable? Well, it's probably not, right? The algorithm can only take you so far. But what we're doing is we're comparing the ask price of the house to the price of the comps. So that would be another house in the area that's similar property characteristics, that's sold and gives us that lower than 75% range. So this house right here went for 687 and this one went for 675. So you can see those percentages are lower than that new percentage I set, which was at 75%, but you got to use your best judgment on those properties. If I look at this, I'm like, okay, there's no value add, then yeah, these ones sold for more, but they're all fairly newer construction. So there isn't anything I could do with this house. So in this one, I would just hide it. So we have a little thing here at the top that says hide, and that removes it from the results. And then you can move on to the next one.
And that's again where you get your connections with an agent or with another person that is local, boots on the ground, that can answer the specific questions or walk the property if you need that extra touch. Sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
there's a little bit more clarity there, but it's not always necessary, to be quite honest. You're getting the data that you really need to make a solid decision and an offer right here in front of you.
Yeah.
All right. So somebody's saying super helpful, loving this. Um, Fort Worth has a large blue circle. Would you show how this works in a non-disclosure state?
Oh, we just spent a good amount of time in that area. With the direct to MLS data, it looks the same way as it would a non-disclosure state as a disclosure state. So yeah,
Yes.
we were just in the Dallas. I think I found like a couple deals there.
Yes, you did. And I shared them in the chat. Look for those in the chat. There are active deals that we have found here, thanks to Benson putting Privy to the test. And you can click on those and you can be connecting with agents and making offers. All right. So
Yeah.
Tracy's saying, if you're an agent, can you search as an agent or investor? So like, can you toggle back and forth?
It's the same data regardless if you're an agent or an investor. If you're on the agent plan, it's all the same thing. You just have a couple additional features. Like I said, you can see the private remarks. You can see the contact information directly to the listing agent, and then you can actually send your clients properties through a drip that match their specific percentage of ARV. So if you have an investor who, let's say you are an agent in Colorado Springs and you can't find any deals in the Springs, and one of your clients says, you know what, I would consider buying something in Kansas City. Well, you can get right into Privy and you can find a property. And then you can send those. Well, you could set them up on a drip and you can say, okay, every property we can find in Kansas City that's at say 10% cap rate, I can buy at 50% of the ARV, send to Susie Homebuyer. And then they'll get an automatic email every time one of those is found. And actually that does remind me here, and I want to start to wrap up, Tracy, if we can.
Yes, we are.
But I do want to show you one thing here, because somebody was asking about new features. Earlier, when I showed you the rental data, we've had over 140 million rental data points nationwide. And we have an algorithm that can find properties that match your cap rates or your analyzed return or cash on cash return. So these are all ways to measure how successful or how profitable a rental property can be. So if I say, okay, well, I want to find a house that's at a 10% cap rate in the greater, Colorado Springs area. Okay, we switched over because this is a different measurement stick now. Now we're not looking for discounted houses. We're looking for properties that will cash flow. Then we can rerun this. And this will show us houses that we can buy, and there's not much, honestly. There's only a handful of properties that are currently listed that will make sense for this. But this house right here was flagged as one of those. It's a 3-2. It has rents that range from 2,100 to 2,300. And then if we scroll down here into the comp section, we can see those rentals. So here's all the rentals. And then we can look at our house and say, okay, this is in a certain condition. It's similar to this one that went for 1.8, right? Or 2,300, right? And then we can adjust it here. So here's the cool thing. So it automatically calculates your gross yield, cap rate, cash on cash return, and annualized return. And
That's
you can
gold.
edit right here. You can edit all the assumptions that we make. So we assume that you're going to put 20% down. But let's say you're going to put 30% down. Well, you can adjust that right here and say, okay, let's go to 30%. And then maybe you're going to self-manage. So you don't need to put 10% aside for property management. So let's change that. Let's put that at 0. So all this adjusts the numbers on the fly. And so now we can adjust all of that. And then we can also save it too. So if I wanted to save this, right, look at the annualized return went from negative to 5% by just putting an additional 10% down and removing the property management fee. But all this is adjustable. So you can customize it for your specific situation based off of what you're looking for. And this all edits on the fly.
Wow, what a
Pretty
great
amazing.
presentation. Pretty amazing. Obviously, there's so many robust features that we certainly wouldn't have time for all of it, but I'd love to do this again sometime, Benson. What do you think?
Oh, we absolutely should. And, and for the people that do decide to come on, we do have live training that we do twice per week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. When you sign up, you're going to get a welcome email, and there's going to be a link to the Learning Center where you can go and get signed up for those live trainings. But I think what we should do next time, Tracy, is do more training on this. And then anybody who comes in that maybe didn't get it this time can, look at it a second time or sign up. But we've always got more things coming out. We've got a bunch of new markets coming. I know we're working on like Louisiana, and we're working on oh boy, I wish I could remember. There's like 8 new markets that are coming soon that the dev team is working on. So we'll continue to add more direct to MLS markets, more data sets. Something that's going to probably come later on this year is short-term rental data. So if you're into Airbnbs or VRBOs, we're going to be partnering up with a company that provides short-term rental data. So there'll be a new filter that pops up on that suite where you can run a short-term rental analysis on a property, which is pretty
That's
exciting.
huge. Yeah, that is super exciting. And it's just always staying on the cutting edge and always staying on the forefront of what's available, capitalizing that, bringing that to this platform and making it really that one-stop shop, which I love. And just, it's been such a tremendous time really getting back in, seeing the enthusiasm and the excitement in the chat. The questions were great. The interaction was wonderful. We've been streaming in a bunch of places. So excited to see how many will take advantage of this opportunity. Keep in mind, if you purchase today, I dropped a link in the chat. There's a promo code with my name on it. And thank you, Benson, for the honor of creating that code just for me and my group. It's super exciting to bring high-level value like yourself and what you have to offer to my community. If anyone out there is looking for a community that houses a lot of real estate investor experts in a variety of different things, fix and flip, virtual wholesaling, apartment, and syndication, legal, all kinds of things, you can join my collaboration group where we are bringing things like this to the table weekly, monthly. And so you're going to find that the value that we're bringing is pretty tremendous opportunity to connect with some really great quality vetted people like Benson. And so thank you, Benson, for your time. I know we went over, you always over deliver. And I'm thrilled for anyone here that's going to take advantage and step into Privy.
Awesome. Yeah, it was a pleasure being here. I really appreciate the invitation, and I'm excited for a relationship long term. Um, yeah, let's do it. Let's do more training. We'll coordinate on additional dates, but I appreciate everybody who came. Hopefully, you took some things away. And like I told you earlier, and I stand by this, is that there were things that we talked about today that you can put in your business right away. And if you're not ready to commit to real estate investing, that's totally okay. Timing's everything, right? Timing is everything. But one of the things I would highly encourage you to do is don't just invest in markets based off of convenience. What's convenient, what's comfortable, what's familiar. 90% of the time, that's what people do when they look for deals. Most of the US is not viable for real estate investing, mostly from wholesale fix and flip perspective. But even from rental perspective, they're just not viable. So if you just go pick your own market because you live there thinking it's going to give you an edge, you'll likely make a mistake. Use the data to find the best markets to invest in. Earlier, I showed you there were lots of holes in those blue, right? That heat map. And so those are areas where you should avoid. So value your time, right? Every minute you spend in your business is very important. And if you are banging your head against the wall in a market just because it happens to be where you live, we got a lot of people here from Colorado Springs. It's not the best market, I'm telling you. Then you're likely not going to get the best return on your time investment. So consider some high investment activity areas, and Privy tracks all those for you. So you know specifically which markets where you can get consistent deal flow, predictable deal flow, and also the amount of deal flow you need to be able to build a business around, right? Because nobody's here to do one deal, right? We're all here to get consistency in our business and actually have predictable deal flow so that we can reach our financial goals. And that all comes with doing more and more deals over time.
Love that so much. And linking arms with the best of the best. Thank you, Benson. I don't know, Benson, is there a way to save the content in the chat? Because there's so much valuable stuff that's happening. Will that be on the recording and we'll still be having access, or maybe you don't know the answer?
I don't know.
If we X out, it might be at the end of the world. I don't know what will happen. But if anybody wants to get connected with me and wants more information, you can send me a message. There's some people in the chat from my group. Obviously, we have 2 chats going. And so it's a little bit, I'm not sure. We hope we didn't miss anyone, but thankful for all of you for showing up. And I will have the recording in my group. As far as what you'll keep on your end, Benson, I'm not sure where you'll go with that, but your community will find out soon enough.
Sounds perfect. Well, thank you again, Tracy.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day.